Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's radio network on Facebook live stream. And we get to work with some pretty cool people. One of our partners is Be Live TV, and this is how we can do the really cool kind of interviews and have more than just one person on the screen with us, right? And show you lots of cool pictures. So we want to say thank you to Be Live TV for being our partner in this. And you are watching Star Nation's Communications from Home, and it's Tuesday night, February 20th. I know. I had a show on Sunday, and I had to remind everybody that it was Sunday. It's not Tuesday, it's Sunday, because I'm on every Tuesday night. So welcome, everybody, as you're coming into the chat rooms. So glad to see you here. Hi, Robin. Robin's here with us. Robin McCarthy. Good to see you, Robin. Thank you for coming and being with us tonight. When we started having shows, both internet radio show and now the Facebook live stream shows, I have to say they're fun. You know why they're fun? One is that we get to spend time with you, our listeners, and now our audience. But we also get to spend time together with people that we really like and we enjoy being around. And that happens to be my guest tonight. And actually, she's more like a co-host tonight than a guest. And my guest tonight is someone who you all know and love very much. A lot of you know her, especially in Star Nation's community and also the Great Lakes Retreat community. Almost all of Michigan. She's pretty well known over across the lake. I'm in Wisconsin and she's in Michigan. She is one of those people that takes us into nature. She is the one who has taught so many people about our connection to nature through her book, Spirit Gardens, and our connection to how nature can help us work through grief through her new book, Missing Nana. But she's also taught a lot of us about how to connect with nature through force bathing or Shinrin. And also she makes a mean pot of tea. She's really good. And so I want to bring on Minnie Kansman because she is one of my favorite people. And she's going to help me tonight. Hi, Minnie.
Hello.
Welcome.
Oh my gosh, what a nice introduction. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. We're also co-hosts of Spirit of Color show on the third Thursday of the month here at Star Nations, and we've done other radio shows together, and it's fun. It's fun doing fun topics, and even the hard topics turn out to be fun because sometimes those hard topics, those challenging ones, we get to lean on each other's strengths, and those turn out to be pretty fun too. But tonight, wouldn't you say tonight's topic is a little of both?
Yeah.
Tonight's topic is about being positive. Shifting into the positive is what we call the show. And basically it's about how we think, how we feel. And even when we're not having a very good day, or, some people call it the dark night of the soul, that we still have a choice in making more positive thoughts and positive action. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But you know what? We got a couple other people in the house. We got Carla Jo in the house. Hey, Carla Jo.
Hi, Carla.
Carla Jo, you're so welcome. Agate. You're so welcome. It whispered your name to me, so that's why you got it, along with the Valentine. So it's good to have you here. Carla Jo is also one of our contributing writers. She writes for Star Nations magazine. Her column is called The Eclectic Pagan's Journey, and she writes under the Sacred Feminine section in the magazine. Which reminds me, I know this is a shameless boy, but here, we'll put that. This is what came.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yay.
Look at it. That's gorgeous. So springy.
I know. It came in the mail today. I always get a hard copy, the print on demand copy for a couple reasons. One, I just love looking at the pictures. I do.
Yeah.
But from a standpoint of publishing and looking at it and looking at what we can do better, what looks really good and what worked really well, and oh, that one didn't work, kind of stuff. And so that's why I always get a print copy. And so anyway, I was excited when I got it today. Minnie, I want to ask you something.
Okay.
Are you always happy and positive?
You know, a lot of people think that about me, but no, not always. You know, I have my days. I'm a Cancer, so you know, Cancers are said to be moody. But I think as a Cancer, I've learned not to stay in that place of that negative mood, because I could. As a triple Cancer, I could easily stay in that moody place. Mm-hmm. But I think I try extra hard not to. Does my sound okay?
Yeah, your sound is good.
Okay.
Your sound is good.
Okay, because it sounds different to me.
Oh, does it? No, you sound good. Your picture is a little fuzzy, but sound is good. Yeah, you know, and the same for me. I'm a triple fire, so that's Sagittarian, and actually Julie Hedges is the one who has helped me to understand that I actually have four fire in Sagittarian.
Four. Whoa.
And so, you know, it has taken me a lot of trial and error, especially when I was much younger, in my 20s and 30s, to learn how to be with that and not be fiery all the time, you know, to be able to learn that balance in there and the expression of it, and not to repress it, because you go both directions with it. You're trying to you know, learn about it and live with it, and then you start putting the lid on it, and that doesn't work either.
Right.
And so then you have to kind of go back a little bit and not suppress it or repress it, but to find a more healthy way to express it. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% in the healthy expression of it, because I'm still learning and still working with it and learning along the way about that much fire. And I used to wonder, why do I have all these Geminis around me? I have a lot of Geminis around me. And, but you know, they're an air sign. And so they literally feed the fire. So when we're talking about being positive, I'm also, and I came in this way. My mother tells me I was a very happy baby and I was smiling and that kind of thing. An easy child, she says. But I really wanted to be here in this lifetime. I really wanted to be here. And so with that, learning at an early age that you have to make a decision. You have to decide if you're going to be in a happy frame of mind or an angry frame of mind, for me. And that it was much more fun to make the decision to be happy. And so I've been called Pollyanna. I've been called, oh, you always choose to walk on the sunny side of the street. And I said, I certainly do, because I don't like the other side of the street. But have you ever been called that? Yeah. Have you ever been called a Pollyanna?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And what happens is people sometimes when they first meet you and you're happy all the time, and they think that there's some insincerity in it, like there's a fakeness in that. You know, she can't really be like that, you know, unless they've been around me for a while, and then they go, yeah, I mean, what you see is what you get with me. That's it. There, and so, and for me, it's a choice to say, which way do I want to live my life? which way is more fun? Way is more fun for other people to be around? Because I hate being around the grumbly grumps, you know.
Yeah.
So why would I want to be one of those?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's way more fun to be around someone that's positive.
Yeah.
And so I made the choice to be that. And you know, you have one lifetime here. You know, this lifetime around, you know, why not make the best of it?
Right.
Why not make the choices that make the best of it? It just doesn't make sense for me to go the other way. So that determines my choices every day.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I have to agree with that. But, you know, somebody else is in the house we have to say hi to. Cynthia.
Yeah. Hey. Oh, hi, Cynthia.
Yeah, so good for you to be with us down there where it's warm.
Oh, she's back home now, I think. She just got back.
Yeah. Oh, well, then you know then.
Yeah.
You know.
The rain today.
We had freezing rain. It was like a skating rink out there today. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that, you know, once you learn how to make those decisions that where do I want to stand with this? How do I want to, what's the best position for me to experience whatever that is?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's almost like building a muscle. The more often you're consciously aware that I'm making this decision, I know I could stand in the doldrums or the anger or whatever that is and take up residence there, or I can make a choice to see how I can shift this, learn whatever I'm supposed to learn in this and move in another direction.
Yeah.
Because when you first start out, at least from my experience, Minnie, it was, it took me longer to make that shift in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more often you do it, the easier it gets. And you learn more about what it feels like over in the other positive area compared to what you're trying to leave, right? So if we could talk about a little bit about that, because I also want to get some input from our audience on how they perceive how they make that decision for themselves, or maybe they don't. Maybe there's some people who just kind of like to ride the wave, and when that wave goes out, kind of like an ocean metaphor here, when that wave goes out, is when they feel the difference, and then they live their life a little bit differently when that wave goes out. So if our audience could let us know a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind sharing that, it'd be helpful to other people who are watching and listening, to get some tips from you too. So if we could spend a little bit of time on that. So when you first made that distinction,
mm-hmm.
right, making that choice, about what age were you, and how did you learn how to make that choice?
It's interesting because I can't think of an age. Mm-hmm. I know I accelerated on that as when I started my conscious spiritual path, which was when I was about 26 years old, mm-hmm. When I was pregnant with my first son. I knew I had to figure out what I was going to teach him. And so I really got on an accelerated path. But before that, you know, I could say I was a pretty happy child. So I was I must have been making positive choices early. Mm-hmm. But really consciously, I guess that's the word, consciously, was when I started studying spirituality. And all of these other layers went with that of the, you know, I mean, because you heard in my childhood, is the glass half empty or half full?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, then it would be half full. But now I say, thank God it's got something in it. I'm just really grateful for what's in it.
Yeah,
exactly. Whatever. I mean, it doesn't even have to be half full, but it's got something there.
Yeah.
So always looking in from that vision of gratitude, which I know you and I've done whole shows about too. But
Yep.
that learning about gratitude helped me to be on the positive. Also, I remember another quote early on from a yogi, and I can't remember his name, but it was one of my friend Susie Anderson's favorite Kupala yogi. But it was a quote on a bookmark that she gave me, and I wrote it down because I remember. Everything that happens to you has a gift if only you have the eyes to see it.
That's a good one.
Everything.
That is a good one.
Everything has a negative, positive, whatever. There's always that nugget of, you hit on a little bit at the beginning. What am I learning from this? What's the lesson here?
Yep. That's
what's the gift? What's the gift?
Yep. Exactly.
I had a good friend that was sharing some sad news about some cancer in her family, and she was concerned about how her ex-husband was going to react. Was going to live through this and all of this, and I said, well, what are the gifts? What are the lessons? Why has this been, And I think it was hard for her to kind of hear that at first, because you just want people to be sympathizing with you. I'm so sorry this is happening.
Yeah.
And I said that, but let's look at what's the lesson here? What's the gift? So you're kind of spinning things right around right away, but for me, and that didn't come, always really easy, but now it does. Like today, for example, I had a choice today. The travel agent calls me about the trip for Italy and Greece, and she says, I'm so sorry, the first hotel that we're staying at is going out of business.
Yeah.
And we can't stay there. We need to find a new place, and there's a bike race going on in town, and all the other hotels are full. We have to figure this out. Mm-hmm. And I said, and I think I probably shocked Lori, but I said, okay, let's find a new place. There must be some other fun place we're supposed to be at. There's some other place that our group is supposed to be. And I don't think most of her clients react that way when she tells them, you've got to stay 4 nights someplace else. And I said, Spirit must want us someplace else. Mm-hmm. So let's figure out where that is. So we're working on it. And we'll see. And it's an adventure. And when you look at life that way, like, okay, this plan didn't work out, but there's something better that's coming then instead. It's kind of like, shutting the door, open the window,
Yeah.
It's looking at things that way instead of the door slamming in my face and now life is for shit, It's a whole different attitude.
That's true. That's very, very true. I want to say something before I forget, because I already have forgotten. And I realized, oh yeah. For those that are with us right now, watching live, if you wouldn't mind liking and sharing the show, I'll tell you why we ask you to do that. If you wouldn't mind doing that for us, because something that we learned along the way is that Facebook is kind of a strange creature, and if we share the shows or the live streams and we like them and we make comments, Facebook logarithms picks it up and it shows it to more people. And so if you feel like this information is good and great information, is helpful information, and you'd like to help us share it, please do that. Like and share. We really do appreciate it, because that's one of the things that we do here on Star Nations is that all of the show hosts and contributing writers, they all have a certain message that they're trying to get out to a lot of people. And we created this platform for that to occur. And so now we're reaching a lot more people than we used to. But with your help, we can reach even more people. And especially about a topic like this, when we're being real about what's it like to live in a situation or through a situation where you have to make a decision not to stay in a lower vibrational field, like anger, okay, for instance, and shifting out of that. So we really would appreciate it. I just did it on my phone, and it's really simple. Yeah, it's really simple. All you have to do is share it to your timeline. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
And also, if you want to make a comment, please do, because Minnie and I will answer your questions the best we can. If you have a suggestion that has worked for you, even better, because that way, you're helping somebody else, right? Right. All right. So, yeah, a lot of people, you're right. A lot of people would get that kind of information and about, the hotel, and they would kind of spin out of control, really. They would go, oh my gosh. It's like shocking. It is shocking. Mm-hmm. And then you'd go, what do I do?
Right.
Yeah. And the thing is that you have experience now with world travel and taking people on these fantastic trips. Right. And so when something like comes up, it doesn't completely throw you off kilter and say, now what are we going to do with this trip? You have experience. And you have your spiritual tools to rely on too,
Yeah.
Look what Jean is saying about us. Hi, Jean. Thank you.
Hi, Jean.
Love your shows. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you to Carla Jo. She said she shared. We really do appreciate that, Carla Jo. And so did Cynthia. Yay. I love that. Thank you for your help. We appreciate it. Because because when we work together, we can achieve so much more, right? We work together. Now, you found some really cool stuff when you were doing research for the show.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to put any of those up now?
Sure. Why don't you put up the quote that says it's oversimplifies to say happiness is a choice?
Okay.
One with a lot of words on it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a solo so everybody can read it first.
Okay.
You want to read it?
So it's I was going to.
Oh, okay.
It's oversimplified to say happiness is a choice. Some people are struggling with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and other conditions that make it challenging to find peace and joy. But challenging doesn't mean impossible. It's more accurate to say happiness takes lots of choices that are sometimes hard to make, like the choice to accept ourselves and our struggles, the choice to take responsibility for getting help, and the choice to do things that are good for us, even when, especially when, we feel like giving up. And I thought that quote was real. It was really real. It wasn't the Pollyanna, oh, just make a different choice. Come on, it's easy. It's saying, no, it's not always easy, but you just have to step in and, kind of feel the pain and make the choice anyway.
Yeah. Towards
something that's less pain.
Yeah.
It's those levels of consciousness is to going up to that, that higher level of where you're at right now, where they say if you go from anger and you go to, what's the next one up? Oh, apathy. And then you go to anger, you're better off, when at least you care about something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you go from like a little bit higher, always lifting, but it is not a jump from unhappiness to complete bliss. There's a lot of steps and choices in between there. But to make those small steps and, like I said, to do the things that are good for us, just give yourself a treat, give yourself a pat on the back. We're so dang hard on ourselves.
And it doesn't have to be an expensive one either, It doesn't have to be an expensive one.
Nope. just go make yourself a cup of tea and give yourself 5-minute break.
Yeah.
It really, but to treat yourself in a kind way, to go to that next step up, to seeing things in a more positive light.
Right.
So
you and I were talking about this a little bit, and I had mentioned something about how it's important. It's really important to feel the feelings. And you can't feel the feelings if you're suppressing them or ignoring them, or, pretending that they don't even exist.
Right.
Suppressing it will only make the situation worse. And so to be able to actually turn your attention to whatever it is that's causing that lower vibrational emotion, whether it's anger or sadness or fear or whatever it is to actually turn toward it and say, what is this? And you're talking to your spiritual team, right? You're talking to them and saying, show me what is really here. I want to see this as clearly as I possibly can, or understand it as clearly as I possibly can, rather than ignoring it or pretending it doesn't exist. And you know what that's like when somebody asks you, how you doing? And they really do mean it. They really, really want to know. It's just not one of those pass you by, kind of things. And your automatically response is, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good to go. And I'll tell you what, especially if you have a lot of intuitive friends, they're not buying it.
They know.
They know.
Right.
The only one you're trying to fool is you.
Right.
So to turn to it and feel it, identify it, name it, but don't take up residence with it.
Right.
And I had said something, I'd mentioned to Minnie, there's this fine line between the turning your attention to it and understanding it, or trying to be with it and to understand it and to live with it and to let it take over your life.
Right.
Yeah, I think, Minnie, wouldn't you agree that it's kind of in that juncture that okay, I think I get this, I think I understand it a little bit better. And that's when you make the choice. That's when you make that leap or that step in that direction of making the choice of, all right, I'm learning this lesson. How can I learn it in a positive way?
Right.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that your first reaction isn't going to be, oh, crap, this sucks,
Right.
Because, it does. And you look at it head on, and, I said, sometimes just going and wallowing in it for a little bit and just feeling it, is just honest. It's just really honest. But the piece is to not live there, to not stay there, to not let every other choice be determined by this thing that happened.
Right.
And to really understand that you do have a choice to make that first step out. There is a choice that you make to stay or to step out.
Right.
It is your control. It's not anybody else's. When you, and maybe this is a good time to put that other quote up about letting other people.
I'm just going to let Carla Jo know that we saw your.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, she says, even the smallest choice is difficult to make. That first tiny move away from the negative is the hardest step we can make. That's true. That's true, because you're becoming conscious about it.
Right. But then it gets easier after you make that first one.
So which other one did you want? The gratitude one?
No. About letting other people determine your happiness. Giving the power over to others. I can't remember what it says.
Let me see if I got this one. Is it the one about the inside job, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Happiness is an inside job. Don't assign anyone else that much power over your life. I do think that anyone else or any other thing, whether it's a person's reaction to you, or it's how much money you have, or it's whether you have this or that. It can be things too that you think, I'll be happy when I have this, or I'll be happy when this happens to me. Yeah. And you really have the choice to be happy now inside yourself. And that's true happiness. That's true well-being, is when you have that feeling of happiness inside, no matter what else is going on the outside. Right. I posted on Facebook, a sweet monk named Matteo Ricard was talking about all emotions are fleeting. Your inner happiness and well-being is something that you can hold in you and not let all those emotions flying around affect you. Mm-hmm. And his piece, he said this is a piece that meditation can help very much with, of creating that 5 minutes of inner peace in meditation, but that you are really growing your brain to hold that space of well-being. That we can really, he called it mind training, and meditation will help you become more familiar with this new way of being. Mm-hmm. Because in meditation you go to that place of that peacefulness, and as he was talking about that, I thought about my Shinrin Roku. We go to that place of happiness when we're doing the forest bathing work too. We go to that place of out of the monkey mind and into the focus of nature. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's a way to stretch your brain to be in that place of well-being more often too. Is to connect, but in a sensory way, with your surroundings. Really paying just attention to the colors and the shapes of the leaves, and the way the sound of the gravel feels when you walk on the path. Yeah. It's a sensory piece, and that will stretch your brain too. Mm-hmm. So, it's a mindfulness exercise, a mind training, he called it. And in order to do it, mind training, and that you have to understand that happiness is an inside job. Yeah, like the quote said. Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me. I'm going to put that in the chat. Is the mind training positive? Mm-hmm. It kind of reminds me of the medicine wheel. In the Potawatomi sense, but you have to let the audience here know that there's a lot of different ways to look at the medicine wheel. Mm-hmm. Okay, lots of interpretations of it. And then the one that I learned about and the one that I live by comes from the Potawatomi Nation and the people that I belong to. Okay, and we believe that there's two roads. There's the red road, which goes from north to south, which a lot of people hear about. But there's the road that goes from east to west. And we call that the blue road. Some people call it the black road. But that's where all of our life lessons lie on. And it's going from the east to the west, from mental thought to your heart to emotion. And really it's about learning how to balance and learning about all of that on that journey. And the mindfulness is really about is to understand how to quiet the mind, but you're also understanding how to feel your emotions in a way that is healthy, that you're not harming somebody else, right, with your emotions. You're not using it as a weapon, so to speak.
And so it is, that's what that reminds me of, is that journey that we take from the east to the west, and how we learn about ourselves going from, the mental mind into the emotions, and then being in balance with the two. That's the middle path. And it's all of that, everything that we learn about that through our physical lives that we take on the red road, because that's our wisdom that we've gained, and we're taking it to our community from the south to the north, and we're taking it to the community where we can provide a service to someone else. And that's the road of life for us. That's how we believe. And so what you're talking about, Minnie, reminds me of that. And that choice is really, it's something that we're all capable of doing. But it takes practice. It takes that mind training. It does.
Right. Also, you reminded me of balance on that video, which I'll post on the Star Nations page too. It's on my Facebook page. They did a study with monks because they wanted to know where their brains went when they meditated. So they hooked up. What?
They
hooked up all these. Yes, it was. It was. They talked about it there. Yep. So they wanted to see where their brains went. So they hooked them up to electrodes, and whether they were in the right side of the brain or the left side of the brain, and they went into the middle in balance. So they weren't in their rational mind and they weren't in their artistic mind. They were in a balanced place. And because they talked about the monks being able to create that peace and well-being in their minds, no matter what's going on around them.
Right.
Like they would come up behind them and scare them and they wouldn't jump. Where the normal reaction for 99% of people is to jump, but they wouldn't, because they kept that serenity inside them. And so that outer whatever's going on, their reaction to it, they didn't have. So that's pretty cool. To get that science around that, that we know meditation is good for us. And we know that these monks have something going on with happiness.
Right.
Oh my gosh, look at the Dalai Lama. What a joyful man he is.
Right.
And it's because they don't let this outer emotional sea affect them. Because of their mind training.
Their mind training. And, Jean in the chat room is making, she's made a couple of comments I want to make sure that we address. She's sharing that she's struggling with a huge depression. But she's also, she says she keeps going. But she's also saying that she has this issue happening in karate. That she feels that the head guy is being demeaning toward her. And her reaction, I guess, is, I would say probably isn't exactly, she's not in a positive place with it. If he tells you to do something, you have to. And so, then, and this is real stuff. I mean, this isn't something, it's not all pink and fluffy. What Jean is talking about is life. This is what happens. A lot of people go through it at work, and so what Minnie was sharing is that, yes, you can be in those really horrible situations and still remain calm and in that center place. But how do you learn how to get there? How do you deal with somebody that is an instructor? He doesn't own your life, Jean. He's not the boss of you.
Don't give him so much power. Read the thing. Don't give him your power.
That's right.
But it's, for me, I would, like Jean, I would ask, what is he teaching me? What is the lesson I'm to learn? That when I ask that question, that takes me out of the situation and it's back and I own it. I own this situation in my life because there's a reason it's there, and it's always a learning opportunity. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Always. The conflict is always a learning opportunity. When you feel that conflict and that emotion come up, And so, asking yourself that question helps take you a step back out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And or who does this person remind me of? Is there anyone else or any other situation that has happened before, or someone else? Because usually, sometimes there's a repetitive pattern because it keeps coming up for you to learn. It's going to come up with different people in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you start then you're back to looking at you, and it's an inside job. It's back to that focus and concentration on you.
Yeah.
And not so much on what's this person doing to me to create this feeling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're gonna use energy anyway. You're gonna expend energy anyway. So you have to decide: am I going to expend energy on him and trying to figure out, why is he treating me this way and giving him a lot of power over you? Or using your energy in a way that you're going to be asking that question about what is my lesson I'm being shown here? What do I have to do to learn that lesson? See it with clarity, all those kinds of things that will help you with your soul growth. Because believe it or not, even though he might be a jerk about it, he's playing a role for you. He's playing a role for you. To be able to learn whatever lesson or whatever you're supposed to get out of that. And if you see that it's a repetitive thing, that, oh yeah, he reminds me of, and then you can name 2 other people, then you're definitely on the right track, that this is something I have to look at. So, because I want to disrupt that cycle. And how do I disrupt that cycle? I have to name whatever it is that emotion is, feel it, and turn toward it and say, okay, what do I learn from this? And it may actually help you learn how to deal with people like him. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but I just wanted to make sure that we address that. And
thank you, Jean, for sharing.
Thank you so much. That was very brave of you, too, to help us with that. Lisa says, I try to remind myself that thoughts are energy we put out into the universe. Yes, the universe does not discriminate. It echoes back to you what you project. So make your thoughts good and grounded in love. When I'm stuck in negative thought, I meditate on grounding myself and visualize the earth to cleanse and transmute the negative energy into positive. Exactly what we're talking about tonight.
And I like that you're using the earth to dissipate that energy out, because Gaia just does that really, really well. Or even, the trees with their roots do that really well, to take that. But once you've looked at it, once you've figured out if there's a lesson for you, or sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's just, someone's spewing and it's at you, but, to dissipate that with the earth and again, your reaction to wanting to put the positive out to create the positive, the law of attraction is huge in this piece too. And I think another reason, for myself, why I've decided to live in this more positive place, because I've seen that the more positive I am, the more positive comes back to me. I've seen that played out in my life. And I've seen it played out in others where it's the opposite.
Right. Right.
Just by even the words they use, what you attract, what you say, you attract and call to you. So, yeah.
Right. And I've talked about some stuff on shows about how 2017 wasn't exactly a stellar year, but I learned a lot. I learned so much last year, and can actually say that without crying, which is good. It's a good thing. Yeah. And I, with help from friends like Minnie and others, my sisters, to be able to get to a place where I can see and change something which is, rather than spending all my energy and thoughts and time on why someone or some people haven't done this or haven't done that, and not at my doorstep, rapping on the door to come and visit again, and and being sick and tired of seeing this person's face because they're here all the time, kind of thing. No, it is not to spend my time on that piece, but to turn my attention on and toward the people who have been very supportive, who have been here, who have loved and supported me, and to spend my time and thoughts with that. The other piece is, I've figured out, I've talked to my spiritual team and spent time with it and looked at where's the lesson in all of that. What is it? Because I know there's a gift in there somewhere. Somewhere in all of that book, there was a gift. There's certainly one. So, why I'm telling you this is because we're just not spouting words. We actually have lived through this. And many times just recently. Other times it's been, years ago. But whenever we go through a cycle like this, we're learning something more than what we did before. And so, when you get to the point of seeing the gift in it, and this is, I'm going to show them the other one, Minnie. Hang on. I got to get to it. This one was my favorite. I'm going to give it a solo.
I loved it too. Oh my gosh.
Happiness is a choice. Every single day you make a choice.
Yeah. Which side of the bus are you going to sit on? Yeah.
Right. Or it was, what's walking on the sunny side of the street. I'd rather do that than walk in the cold side of the street, the shady side. So I really liked this one. It really is about choice, though. I think it's about choice, and we have that choice every single day. Sometimes with every breath, depending on what you're going through. Here, Carla Jo has something.
Right.
Carla Jo says, my last supervisor was one who had favorites. I was not one. He would show up a couple times a shift and want really dumb things done or just interrupt the work. Then he'd get bent on me for not getting it done. I set boundary and asked the universe to allow him in my space only when he had a reason, such as to offer overtime. From then until 5 months later, when I retired, I only saw him 3 or 4 times. So you used your spiritual team. You used setting boundaries. And really, that's whatever he was going through was his thing,
Right. And maybe you learned to set boundaries because of him. Mm-hmm. To set strong boundaries was the lesson.
Right.
There.
Exactly. And Sister Christine's in the house. She just found herself. Hey, you're here. I'm just kind of going through. All right. I'm gonna bring this one up because I think it's when we're going through a tough time and we're given the opportunity to make these kind of decisions, right? And we're not saying that it's simple by any stretch of the means. It can be very complicated. It can be as complicated as we want to make it, really. Jean's asking, can you guys help me tell if he's dark? The sensei.
And she's talking about,
the instructor.
Well, for me, like if to ask that question, you're not looking at the positive side of this. When you focus on the negative, you could create it to be dark when you focus on that. So for me, and this comes up a lot in space clearing and feng shui and pieces like that. That I choose not to feed that energy with my thoughts. Sometimes the energy is there and I have to deal with it, but I deal with it from a place not of fear.
Right.
Because when you go to that thought with fear, you're feeding it. When I go to that thought with, I'm going to lift and change and shift that vibration, you're coming in from a place of power in your strength and not a victim. And that's the word that comes up too when that question's asked. So you want to be in your power and in your strength. And for me, when I'm there, dark energies they can't be there at the same time.
Right.
So I don't know, how would you answer that, Neshi?
Well, the reason why I even showed it is because that is a question that comes up quite often when you're dealing with the situation where you have someone like this instructor, similar, somebody who seems to have some power of some sort. And I have to say that he's teaching you a lot about you. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And when we're dealing with lower vibrational beings, no matter if they're in a human form or not, we have to go in fearless. And what does that mean? That means that you're going in with a lot of love because it's a higher vibration. It's going to push that lower vibration away, out. Now, that sounds simple, but that means that you have to work on your own vibration because you're the vibration. And when it's somebody who is instructing you in that way, there's also the real world stuff. And if you're paying this man to treat you that way, then you need to say, hey, I'm paying you. What's the deal? Have you sat down and talked to him about it as an adult? And not to hand over so much power to the man. And a good question is that, is he the instructor for you? Because maybe he's not the instructor that you're supposed to be with. There's a lot of karate instructors out there. Maybe not where you live, but those are the kinds of questions that you have to ask yourself. Am I in the right place? If that is your right place, then this is a lesson that you need to be able to stand up and say, okay,
right.
How am I going to do?
But there's a discernment to say, this is not the teacher that I choose.
Yeah.
And to choose a different one. There's a lesson of discernment of what's good for you and what's not, Right. So there's a lot of choices to look at. Yeah.
Yeah. Julie's in the house. Hi, Julie. Thanks for being with us tonight. She says, this can be dangerous for people suffering from depression because it makes it seem like they are weak. They should just make a choice to feel happy. That's not what we're saying at all. That we're saying that is a choice to be made, consciously to be made. If somebody is been diagnosed as being under depressed and there is a physical situation going on and they've sought out professional help, and they should if the depression is at that state, then they should be working with a therapist with it, because there's a much bigger underlying, could be,
right,
physical reason for the depression, chemical
and sometimes the choice of going to a doctor and getting help is your step and your choice towards happiness. It is making that decision to go get some assistance.
Yeah, because what we're talking about isn't the fluff and stuff. No, This is about learning about yourself and being able to identify what it is that lower vibration, whatever that is. Why am I feeling angry? Why am I feeling so sad? When you're recovering from grief and you're working through that, nobody ever really stops grieving somebody that they've loved deeply and they're gone. They just have to, they learn how to live their life differently. Nobody ever really, works all the way through that, because how can you when you just lost the love of your life, so to speak? But they learn how to live their life differently. That's what we're talking about. That's looking at it, identifying it, and making a different choice. Making a choice, maybe even, as Minnie said, to find help, is to identify that counselor to help them through that. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's good questions. I love this stuff. All right. Let's see. Wow. Yeah. You're welcome, Jean. That, if you have a friend, or if it's you, and they're going through a situation, right? And they can't seem to step out of it. They can't seem to make that decision. And you're really starting to sense that there's something really, really wrong here. Trust your intuition. Call them. Go see them. Suggest that they seek out counseling. Because you love them. You want them to thrive. You want them to be happy as they can be. And so, is to be able to, because I tell you what, when I was going through my stuff, I wasn't calling a whole lot of people for help. Why? Is because you don't want to seem like a whiner, because I was actually implied that I was whining. It's like from somebody that I really know well. And so, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. And so then you start going the opposite direction and saying, nope, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to go over here and work as much as I can and pretend nothing's wrong. When I know better, it takes people who love you to say, this isn't good. This isn't, something's going on, and we need to help you fix this, whatever this is. And so if you have somebody like that in your life, I'm telling you, call them. Go see them. All right. Wow, you guys are doing some really good stuff in the chat room. I can't keep up with you.
I know, they're busy.
All right. So I'm going to scroll up a little bit here. So if I missed your comment, I apologize. I'm trying to get to them. And we only got a couple minutes left. Although if we go over a little bit, Minnie, nobody's going to say, pull the plug, because I've got the plug. I'm not going to plug.
I got the plug. I love that. Oh.
Okay. Well, Jean says she's going to be direct. I'm going to be direct.
Good for her.
Be in your power. Be direct.
Ask for what you want. I love that. Ask for what you want. We don't always do that. And how are you going to get what you want unless you ask for what you want? So.
Mm-hmm. And Judy, hi Judy. Judy is saying that's exactly what you have to learn to live a whole new life. Without that person is hard, but you can do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's you learn how to live it differently. And I've heard that more often from people. I've heard it from my mother-in-law, from friends of mine who lost their best friend, their husband, their lover. It's tough. Yeah, thank you, Carla Jo. She says, asking for help when you need it is not being weak. No, it's not. But, we play those mind games with ourselves sometimes. Yeah.
Right.
All right. I think I'm through most of them. Yeah, you're right, Lisa. This is one of the hardest things to do for most people, and that's to ask for help. Yeah, that's true. Because you know what? None of us have all the answers. None of us do. Because if we did, we'd be in spirit and we'd be somebody else's spirit guide.
Yeah, we're here to learn all this stuff.
Even as spirit guides, they don't have all the answers because they're not living this physical life. Right?
Okay.
All right. So, Minnie, did I get through all of your pictures that you sent? I think so.
I think there's one on gratitude, and we touched on that.
Okay, we'll show it quick here.
For me, gratitude has been my best tool to get out of whatever challenge, doldrums, whatever, is to really look at, I ask the question, and I do this with my clients sometimes, is what's working in my life right now? What's working? Because there's always something that's going well. Something that's, maybe not going well, but it's working. It's and when you can just find and hang on to those pieces, it seems to help you focus on creating more of what's working.
Right. Mine is, what is it that I love? And at first it's, it just starts at that mental list. But when you use it repetitively quite often, you start going deeper with it. What do I love about my life? What's in my life that I love?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and it's very similar to what you said. It's very similar to what you said.
And sometimes it's really helpful. I've shared this with you before, but maybe not everybody here. I keep a small legal pad with me when I'm going through a big something, and I will write down those gratitude pieces.
Mm.
When the negative thought comes up, or the worry, if it's a worry that just keeps repeating in my head, oh my gosh, then I'll make myself pull up the gratitude and write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's really getting bad, then I'll go back and read all my things again. So for me, focusing on the gratitude has been the biggest piece to pull me out of whatever I'm worrying about, depressed about. And big tool. But
yeah, one of the tools that helps me, and it is part of the meditation, and we're going to do that meditation next week, you guys. I think it's next week. I have to look at the calendar. The Unity Breath meditation.
Oh, good. Yeah.
And really, it's bringing those images, not the thoughts necessarily. Of course, the thought is there, but it really is about the imagery of something about Grandmother Earth that I just love. And many times for me, it's flowers, roses, and lately it's been the using white and lavender roses together. And it's something that I love so much that it makes me smile, and it helps me to shift out of that. And so when I'm loving and in love with Grandmother Earth, and I'm sending her love, and I feel it returned, it helps me even more to be able to shift that energy. And I do the same thing with Grandfather Sky. What do I love about Grandfather Sky? And I use the imagery. It's the images that elicit the emotion. And, and all the things that I love about the sky, the stars, the moon, the sun, shooting stars, comets, the imagery of all of that. And so that's one of the things that I do use on a daily basis. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because it's one of those things that once you identify those images and you can bring them to you, you can shift your energy anywhere, anytime. Anywhere, anytime. You don't need any special equipment.
Equipment, yeah.
You don't need your headphones. You don't need a CD. Or downloadable music.
Right.
You don't need someone else's.
Or your aromatherapy spray, which is nice.
We're not saying don't use those things. Sure. You have to find.
But sometimes you don't have them with you, right?
Yeah. Judy, I love you too. Thank you for doing that. I do too.
Yeah.
All right. I do have one image I'd like to share. I'm going to zip through these.
Oh, yeah.
This is one I found on Instagram. Train your mind to see the good in everything.
Yeah.
In everything. Now, and that's a little bit of a challenge, you guys, because if we believe that everything has life, everything is spirit, and everything was created by the Creator, or whatever you call that energy, then everything contains that spark from the Creator. Everything. Right. Even the karate instructor who's a jerk has that spark from the Creator.
Yeah.
And when we can see the good in everything, then everything can see the good in us, right? Yeah.
We all have it.
We all have it. So, okay, we're about 5 minutes overdue. But Lisa's got something good to say that I want to make sure everybody knows. Lisa says, I have a roof over my head, a safe bed to sleep, food to eat, and people who love me. I have everything I need. Anything else is a joyful bonus, or it else
it probably
doesn't matter.
Else it does not matter.
Or yes, You're right. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. That's beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Final quote I am gonna look at the calendar because I need to know. I know we're at the end of the month, right? Today's the 20th. The 27th.
Yeah.
27th is
okay.
Tuesday. Next Tuesday.
Next week.
Next week. Tuesday, the 27th, on Star Nation's Communications from Home, we are going to be doing the Unity Breath meditation again. Yay! So if you want to join me in that meditation, it's a guided meditation, and it's a little bit of what I just shared with you tonight. And come and join me if you've never done that meditation.
It's wonderful. So good. Yeah.
One of my faves. And Minnie, thank you so much for being here with me, taking the time to be with us tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
It was fun. And what I would like to do is also let Patty know that she's in our hearts and in our prayers, her and her sister, as they bring their way home, and wishing them well.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Okay. And Christine say yay. So join me next week, Christine, if you want to do the meditation. All right. With that, everybody, thank you so much for being with us. And when you're listening to or watching the video, the recorded show, if you could still do the same thing, like and share, we really would appreciate it. Like and share. All right. Good night, everybody, and have a good rest of the week.
Night. Thank you.